Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
If it's Thursday, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got Flintlock here with me to go through all the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery that has trickled out the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. Before we get into all that, though, first and foremost, how you doing over there, brother?
I'm doing good. Uh, just waiting for the fights.
Christian is working. He may or may not make it into the show this evening. Golf T is en route to family vacation, so he will not be here. But that being said, we are going to go ahead and jump right in and kick things off the way that we like to around here with a little bit of news and recent events, official fight confirmations, cancellations, official rumor confirmations or denials, all of the relevant junk that has trickled out that MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last week. Um, we don't have to go backwards this week, which is nice. Does not happen that often, but I will take it because it's a rare thing. We do, however, start directly into this weekend, though. The PFL card that is going down Saturday evening, afternoon, lost its main event this afternoon. 2 days out from the fight, Shamil Musayev was undisclosed injury due to weight cutting and was hospitalized and is completely out of the main event. They have pulled prospect 11-0 Ernesto Rodriguez in to take on Dad Gene to keep the main event. But stepping in on 2 days' notice for a main event spot, that's a big one. That's a big deal. So we will definitely see how that one plays out.
The last time I seen a guy have to go to the hospital because of weight cuts, it was seizures.
Yeah, and 2 days out from the fight, that bad already leads me to believe that he was trying to cut a lot of weight too soon, too close to the fight itself, and his body just said no, and his kidneys probably shut down. It's one of the nasty parts of weight cutting. That's one of the reasons we all advocate for people fighting, close to the weight that they walk around at so much, because then you don't have issues like this. Hi, crazy cat. That being said, a little further down the road, a couple weeks from now, August 8th, will be UFC Vegas 120. Got a very interesting fight added to it this afternoon. Yadier Diwali will be taking on none other than Darren the Damage Elkins in a spectacular matchup on a card that definitely needs some milk. So that is an absolutely great thing to hear coming out of that side of things. Back to the bad, though, unfortunately. UFC 330 that will be going down August 15th, the following week, just lost one of the biggest fights on the entire card. Erin Blanchfield has officially announced that she is injured and out of her matchup with Jasmine Jasdavicius. The UFC has announced that they are officially looking for a replacement to try and keep Jasdavicius on the card, but no word yet if they have found anything or who they're even looking at. So that could be a big hit to that card, especially considering that there are other ladies fighting for a title on that card. Losing another number one prospect for or a number one title contender match for the next ladies division up is not a good look. So hopefully we'll see the UFC pull something together and manage to keep Jasdavicius on the card. Who knows, though? The biggest news of the week so far, though, has been the UFC officially confirming Noche will be going down on September 12th at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona, and they dropped a good chunk of the card itself. First matchup on Noche will be Tim Elliott taking on Edward Chairez, which is a great fucking fight. Waldo Cortez Acosta taking on Curtis Blades, which doesn't seem that exciting, but whatever. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Yusri Belgori. That could be a very interesting fight. And then JJ Aldrich taking on Regina Tureen, which is not that exciting any way you slice it. But the co-main event will be Alexa Grasso versus Manon Fiorot, and the main event will be Brandon Moreno against Joseph Morales. So it's not the worst card they have announced by any stretch of the imagination. There's some rough matchups on there, but there's some good to be had on that as well. So we will definitely have to see what else they add to that card as we get a little closer to September. Excuse me. Couple of interesting ones here to close everything out. The first one, Volkan Ozdemir has officially been given a 16-month suspension from Drug Free America for testing positive for EPO, and not one but two different out of competition samples. The first one was February 16th. The second one was March 5th. And in both cases, they tested the A and the B sample and the blood work that was drawn, and all confirmed in both situations that he had EPO in his system. Come to find out, some pharmacist where he lives in Switzerland started messaging him a couple months ago about being able to help improve his performance with all natural things, I say in air quotes, and eventually talked him into taking EPO. And when he got popped, Volkan Ozdemir apparently gave the fucking Swiss police the copy of his transcripts from his text message exchange with this pharmacist, and now there's an investigation into this pharmacist in Sweden. Long and short of it, though, Vulcan still took fucking EPO and got caught. So,
What?
like, he's at the tail end of his career to begin with. 16 months on the sideline now. Not only will the whole landscape of that heavyweight division change while he's sitting on the sidelines, he might not have what it takes to come back by the time he's cleared again, because this isn't one of those good behavior, get you reduced sentences. They gave him 16 months because he cooperated and gave him the text messages and showed that, you know, it was all this fucking pharmacist that he got tangled up with. That's as much of a fucking break as you're going to get. So he's serving out 16 months on the sideline, nearly a year and a half from now. So next fall, the end of 2027 is when he will be able to return. And that's a long time to wait, especially with everything in the heavyweight division getting ready to get back rolling. You know, Aspinall getting back into the mix, and then Cyril gone with his bullshit. Like, the heavyweight division is about to start rolling again. And as it's about to do that, Ozdemir gets himself sidelined for a year and change for being dumb enough to take fucking EPO after TJ Dillashaw got fucking popped for it. I wish I could feel bad for him, but I can't. Like, you knew exactly what the fuck you were doing. The fact that you let a fucking pharmacist talk you into taking stupid shit when the UFC will give you all of the supplements you need and can take for free is just fucking stupid, in my opinion. So I can't feel bad for him in this case. Like, yes, it sucks that he is sidelined for such a big chunk of what could be the tail end of his career, but at the same time, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes, excuse me. Last one I have got this week. We got the official confirmation straight from the source. Irene Aldana has officially retired from MMA at the age of 38. She leaves the sport with a total record of 15-8, not too terribly shabby. She did have a couple of cracks at the top of the stack and just couldn't quite ever put it all together and get it done, but she put on some great fucking fights and had a damn good run in her time. So it is always unfortunate to see fighters retire, you know, I say young in air quotes because she is 38, but we have seen several fighters, you know, make it well into their 40s doing the damn thing. But at the same time, we say it every time we hear a fighter announce their retirement. I would always rather see them make that choice on their own to hang it up when they are still able to sign their own name legibly and tie their own shoes than to have that decision made for them, you know, when things go sour, and they will. They always do if you stick around too long. There's plenty of history to verify that. So she might not have had the greatest run ever, but she gave it a hell of a fucking shot and made it all the way to the top. Just couldn't quite hold on once she got there. So tip of the cap to Miss Irene Aldana. Hopefully she finds something to keep her time occupied and we don't see her getting caught in airport terminals and compromised situations anytime soon. That is what I have got for news, though. You got anything over there you heard that I didn't this week?
Nope, not this week.
Understandable. So, with that being said, with the kid not here, I'm not going to do a whole cans and contenders breakdown, but I am going to go over some of the more interesting fights on this card for me, real quick. Um, I did not even realize until I started pulling up odds for this card that there's a Bonfim brother fighting on this card. Uh, I'm a very petty man, and I would love to see him get his ass kicked, so I will tune in for that. But he's taking on a very strong prospect in Axel Sola, so the odds are definitely not in his favor. But we'll see how that one plays out. Um, one of the other interesting ones here: Walter Walker versus Thomas Peterson. Um, Peterson's not bad, but he's not really much of a ground guy. And Walter Walker has stated in interviews for the last 6 months that he is trying to be the heavyweight equivalent of Ronda Rousey, how she used her arm bars to just tear through every woman in her way till she got the belt. He's trying to do that same thing in the heavyweight division with heel hooks. And if you keep matching him against guys like Thomas Peterson, who aren't known for their ground game, there's a genuine possibility he might actually be able to pull that off. Um, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be very exciting, but it is a real possibility that Walter Walker could come out to Abu Dhabi Saturday and get himself another heel hook in the heavyweight division and genuinely be on his way to potential tighter title implications by heel hooking all the big guys that have no ground game. I mean, there's much more exciting ways to fight, but there's also much harder paths to the fucking belt, especially in the heavyweight division right now. So I can't say that I'm blaming him, but I'm not terribly excited to see it. I'm just more curious how it's going to play out and how quick it could potentially play out. That being said, the long awaited debut of Islam Makhachev and Team Khabib, prospect shining star John Pork, Magomed Zunukov. I'm not sure how the fuck he says his last name. Making his debut as an 8-0 prospect against Damian Zapecki, a 10-0 undefeated prospect. Very, very interesting matchup here. I am a little curious how a guy making his debut gets a spot on the main card here, other than the clear favoritism that he is already receiving. But we'll see how that one plays out because that man has a lot of hype around him. Will be very interesting to see if he can actually live up to it or not. Also very interesting, just because both men haven't really been the most active, at least this year for sure. Islam Dulatov versus Wellington Turnman. Wellington Turnman is in a bad way. He needs a big win and he needs it now. If he cannot hold Dulatov back from the steamroll run that he has been on lately, we could see Turnman for the last time in the octagon this weekend for damn sure. Excuse me. Co-main event: Steve Ursig versus Ramazan Tamirov. Tamirov is another one of those up and coming prospects with a lot of fucking hype behind him, but Steve Ursig is trying to put himself back into that title conversation. Apparently, he took this fight on like 6 weeks' notice or 7 weeks' notice, not what we would traditionally call short notice, but definitely not a full camp either. So, trying to get himself back out, back active, and getting, and like I was just talking about, a good win and a big win so people can see and put him back into that conversation because he might have got thrown to that title picture a little early, but he has also shown since that fight it wasn't too early, just a little bit early, because he's rounding off all the hard edges that he's got and becoming a very well-rounded fighter. If he can get a big finish taking on Tamirov this weekend, that could be exactly what he needs to put him back into conversation because he's already ranked number 6 right now. A big win will put him up in the top 5 undeniably. So we'll see how that one shakes loose. I think that could be a pretty interesting fight because Steve Ursig is not that old, but Tamirov is one of those 20 something kids, next generation, stepping into the octagon kind of next round or next class of fighters making their way in. So could be interesting to see how that one plays out for sure as well. Excuse me. And then we've got the main event. Literally just switched out. I believe we talked about it last week because it happened just before last weekend. Yeah, we did talk about it last week. So yeah, just a little over a week's notice on the main event change out. More time than PFL's got this weekend, but still interesting change out nonetheless. Guskov still has good striking. I don't think it's going to be as good of a matchup as Roundtree would have been, because Roundtree style works fucking spectacular against heavy grapplers like Ankalaev. Guskov, he's a little, I'll say a little more a little more well-rounded than Khalil is, but he also has a little more power in his hands, where Khalil tends to incorporate more of the Muay Thai style. He bounces the legs, he throws hard fucking kicks. Guskov primarily tries to keep it standing, but hasn't really had many issues on the ground that we've seen. But he also hasn't really been up against somebody, love him or hate him, Ankalaev has got wrestling in its fucking pocket. He doesn't use it to do much finishing, but if he's going to negate you, or if he wants to negate you, he can absolutely put you on the ground and hold you there and grind it out. Hopefully we don't get a 25-minute fucking wet blanket fest, but I have a sneaky suspicion that if Guskov can hurt Ankalaev early, because he's very touchable, if Guskov can hurt him early, we're looking at a long night of ground fighting, because Ankalaev will take that shit straight to the mat or spend the rest of the night trying to. So it is still an interesting matchup, just not quite as interesting as it originally was booked, and it doesn't quite have the same level of implication. Guskov's ranked 11. I believe Roundtree was 5. So it will still get him, a little bit of a bump if he does, if Ankalaev can pull this off and do anything other than a fucking decision, which he has been known for more often than not in his career. If he can actually get a finish against Guskov here, could help put him right up in that conversation for who's next and who gets the short list to the title picture at 205, because 205 is getting interesting again as well. So we'll see how it plays out. Any of these really tickling your fancy over there?
Probably. I'm interested to see how the main event's going to play out now that there's a sub in there. But other than that, not really. I mean, there are some car crashes that are possible, but possibility of yay and nay is to the wind, apparently.
Right. No, but there's some interesting ones for sure, but this card leaves a lot to be desired for sure. Excuse me. That being said, this is the point where normally Galti would be here, and this segment does require its own individual disclaimer. So if you will, me. Tapology.com in no way, shape, or form supports, sponsors, or endorses the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology does give you the option to go onto their website, make a free account, and make fantasy-style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there, so we made one. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word, or Group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcomed and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and then let us know who you are, and we will hold your picks accountable with our picks. So we are in a precarious situation in the moment here, because when we originally set this tournament up for the summertime, Tapology did not have all of the most recent UFC events in their library yet, because the UFC has been releasing the fights, closer and closer to the actual event. Whereas we used to get, 6 months notice easily of when and where something was going to happen, even if we didn't know the full card. Now we're lucky if we get, notifications 6 weeks out from an event actually happening. But we've got the card from last weekend, and then we have nothing in the tournament, at least until UFC 330 next month on August 15th. So that being said, it was a hell of a battle last week on Tapology. I will say, winner, of course, because he's not here to give himself the pat on the back, was Golfty with 10 of 12 for 665 in terms of points. Definitely a good fucking round for him. The other side of that coin, though, sorry, missed a message there. the other side of that coin, we did have a dick trip, and it was only kind of a dick trip because he still got 7 out of 12 correct. But wait, no, he's over there. This gentleman over here, quote unquote, stood on his dick with 7 of 12, which is pretty goddamn good when you're the low man on the totem pole and you got 3 out of 4 correct all the way down the goddamn card. Can't really be too mad about it, but definitely a fucking battle this week between 10 correct and 7 correct. So we were all in that range. Golf T got it out of the top with 10. Donna was right behind him with 9 correct for 565. Don was behind them with 9, but some semis at 540. Christian behind them at 8 for 540. Then was Vinny with 8 for 5 or 440, excuse me. Then was me with 7 for 425. Then Don's other account with 8 for 415. And then sitting down at the bottom this week, unfortunately, was Flintlock over here. And I say unfortunately because he still went 7 for 12 for fucking 400 points. So not a bad week for anybody in the competition for damn sure. We were all well north of a coin flip, well north of 50%. So there is that always in the back pocket there. Like I mentioned, our next tournament matchup is the last one, the final event for this tournament, and then we'll get the next one rolling. But that doesn't kick off till August 15th for UFC 330. So as of right now, the way that things stand, Christian Slowbake is sitting up top, number 1 with 77 correct for 5,215 points. He is almost 500 points ahead of the next closest person to him. It is going to take a fucking miracle for anybody to catch him at this point. He has absolutely been running away with this. Donna sitting right behind him in second place with 75 correct, but 4,765, 400 plus points behind Christian. They're basically battling it out to see who's going to win. And Christian is pretty much at this point just holding everybody else back and keeping a hold of the lead. But the middle here is where the fight really is going on right now. Third spot, we've got Don with 71 for 4490. Just below him, we have got Vinny with 69, very nice, for 4,400 even, just 90 points behind Don. Underneath him, we have got this gentleman over here, Flintlock, with 70, but 4370 for points. So literally just 30 points behind Vinny. Right behind him, I sit with 70 as well for 4320, just 50 points behind him. And then at the bottom are the two gentlemen who both forgot a full week. Golf T with 65 correct for 4,115 points, and then Don's other account with 61 correct for 3,645 points. So Golf T is basically just trying to fight off last place at this point because he and Don both missed a week and they are neck and neck in terms of the bottom here. The middle is separated by less than 100 points all the fucking way down for the entire middle section. So that's the real big fight, the part where it's really going to matter the most in a couple of weeks when we have UFC 330 to talk about. But it has been a close fucking competition all the way out. The good news is that with us having a couple weeks off, that gives everybody a chance. If you have not yet, tapology.com/groups/965, or just search it under the groups. I'm no bookie. You have got plenty of time. Get your account made, join the group or not. Doesn't matter. You can still get into the next round of tournament, even if you're not in the group. That's not a requirement. You just have to let us know who the fuck you are and where to send your invite when that next tournament gets taken care of. That being said, we have got some interesting fucking odds for this week. I am pulling odds from DraftKings this week because that was the first one that I saw when I searched. I don't give a fuck about them. They don't sponsor us, so it doesn't make me one bit of difference if you decide to tell them to go fuck themselves and find a different spot to give your money away. That being said, we don't encourage gambling, but if you do gamble and you win big and we helped you make that pick, don't be afraid to throw a little coin to your Twitcher here. Patreon.com/I'mNoJoe for as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving. Everything you need is there. That being said, we have got some interesting odds for a card that is not the greatest. There are some interesting odds on this one. Kind of surprising to me. The opening fight, Cody Gibson versus Abdul Hussein. Cody Gibson is the plus 390 underdog. Meanwhile, Hussein is coming in at a minus 520 favorite. That is fucking crazy odds. And that is not even close to the biggest odds on the card. We have got another one here. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. Rizvan Kuniev versus Tyrell Fortune. Tyrell Fortune coming in as the underdog with a plus 270. Kuniev coming in as the favorite for a minus 340. So there are absolutely some big odds here. One more real big one early on. Magomed Tukulov versus Bredson Ribeiro. Bredson coming in at a plus 550 underdog. Tukulov coming in as a minus 800 favorite. That is fucking huge odds. And again, that's still not even the biggest odds on this card yet. There are a lot of coin flips here. We've got another one, another fight that I also didn't realize was happening until I started looking up odds. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Sam Patterson. Ponzinibbio here coming in as a plus 360 underdog. Sam Patterson is a minus 470 favorite here. That is fucking insane to me. Lots and lots of coin flips here. Lots and lots of coin flips. And then we have got the biggest odds on the card. And I've got to say, a little surprising, but not the most surprising thing I've seen here. Islam Dulatov versus Wellington Turnman. We spoke about that fight a little bit earlier here. Turnman coming in as the underdog here. Plus 650 to Dulatov coming in as the favorite with a minus 1,000 on DraftKings. I mentioned that the fight leaned that way a little bit earlier. Excuse me. Those odds have no faith in Wellington Turnman. Vegas seems to think he is absolutely going to be a sacrificial lamb here. And I'm inclined to believe there's a good possibility of that, but we'll see how it plays out. And as always, we close things out here with the co and main event. For the co-main event, Steve Erceg versus Mr. Tamirov. We have got dead fucking even odds. Minus 110 to minus 110. No money to be made on this fight unless you include it in a parlay. You cannot pick either side and make a buck by either one of them winning. You are basically having to take some type of a prop bet on top of it or include it in a parlay as one of the legs. Shows you that it's good matchmaking, that neither one of them has any clear odds here. And I think it could be a real interesting fight as well. That brings us, though, to the main event itself. The main event, Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov. Vegas has Bogdan Guskov in the late notice replacement spot as the underdog, understandably at a plus 400, but they have got Ankalaev as the big favorite at minus 535. So Vegas has very, very good faith in Ankalaev one way or the other here. Going to be interesting to see how that one plays out for sure. But that being said, that is what we have got for odds this week. I do understand that there is a gentleman with a gear that has been recently grinded, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to talk about consistency once again. And it's not with the fighters, maybe a little bit with the refs, but the judges, the people that are scoring the round. I watched in the last UFC event alone 3 separate fights where it was like the judge was staring at the back of his eyelids the entire time of the fucking fight.
Bruh.
This guy gets his ass whooped up one side of the fucking ring and down the other, and they give him a round after he got his ass beat the entire fight. What are we doing? I know we got to make things interesting, but when it's blatantly obvious that somebody is getting worked, a pity point, blah, 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 keep it close, but he didn't fucking win the round. With that being said, people across all organizations. I've watched other organizations where the guy who beat the shit out of the other guy lost the fucking fight. There's what? It's publicly televised.
We saw it happen last weekend. We watched the dude
Yes.
literally beat the shit out of a guy for 15 solid minutes and then get handed a fucking 29-28 victory to the other guy somehow.
Now, I'm going to keep that short and sweet. A little side note, it is physically sickening the way they are trying to cover up Herb Dean's bullshit. The way they don't want to put him in a fucking main event so they keep the heat off of him. The way that they got people coming out. I just learned that apparently some head from boxing came out and said he had full faith in Herb Dean. Okay, if you got full faith in Herb Dean, you need to get your eyes checked for cataracts or something.
I think they
Or
need to
maybe
let Herb Dean rep some boxing if they've got such fucking confidence in him. Let Herb Dean come over and rep a couple of them fucking boxing matches and then tell me how much fucking faith you still have in his ability, because mine's pretty well fucking depleted at this point.
right. His little back of the head bullshit. So what? You're telling me that I can punch you in 3/4 of the rest of the back of your head, but this one little landing strip, you're telling me that he literally cost Alex Pereira the fucking fight. But there's no use in beating a dead horse because they're not going to do anything about it. There's been several stories, several videos, several, interviews released, and they just keep him away from the spotlight from a little bit. Let him go ref KSW for a little bit or some shit like that. And then he can come back. It's fucking ridiculous.
I am very inclined to agree, sir. I am very inclined to agree. It's been a little bit ridiculous all fucking week, all the way across the news for damn sure. But, excuse me, that being said, that is what we've got for this particular episode. So, first and foremost, if you are new around here, thank you for tuning in. We try and do these type of shows pretty much every Thursday when there are fights to talk about that weekend. We try to go live somewhere between 9 and 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time most weeks, depending. Life's so sometimes it's a little early, sometimes it's a little late, but pretty much around that time every Thursday. We do go live both on youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe and dual stream to twitch.tv/I'mNoJoe. So you can catch us in either one of your platforms of choice to watch that. It is free on both platforms. If you miss it, we leave the replays up as long as both platforms allow, so you can catch that replay after the fact. If you missed the replay on purpose, I understand that as well, because we also own mirrors. And for that reason, the week after we go live, we put the all audio version of the show up over on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. You can grab it there free as well through your audio podcast platform of choice, Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you use to listen to shit, it's up there and it's free as well. Excuse me. If you really like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, thumbs up goes further than you think it does. Subscribe if you really get into this type of thing. If we made you giggle even just a little bit, share an episode with a friend. It really goes further than you think. If you really, really like what we get up to around here, I mentioned it earlier, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving, you literally help us do what we do around here. And as a thank you for that, first and foremost, all patrons get their names on the end of every broadcast on this channel so that everyone can see how fucking awesome you are for supporting us. But more than that, at any paid tier on the Patreon, you also get exclusive access to the unaired and unairable content. Everything that got us kicked off of OnlyFans is up there for you to enjoy. We also make Patreon exclusive content now, stuff just for the folks who are kicking out a shilling or two for us, to show them a little bit of extra thank you as well. So if it tickles your fancy, go over and take a look. I promise it's worth your time. That being said, though, the opposite side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, when we wrap things up around here Thursday night, that is not the end of the fun, because tomorrow and pretty much every Friday, the kid that couldn't be here will still be over for his podcast, Spreaker.com. Slow Bake and Contemplate, the links to all of their stuff and their social medias, as well as their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord, all down in the description, whether you're watching or listening to this, either way. Again, even though he is on the road again, do not forget to check out Galti Vapes' channel. He's not doing weekly shows anymore, but shenanigan streams do happen. I'm telling you that firsthand knowledge. Shenanigan streams happen generally on the weekends, but the only way to find them is to make sure you're subscribed to Galti's channel, because that's the only place that we get stupid, and boy, do we get stupid for shenanigan streams. So that's the kind of thing you definitely want to go show that brother some love as well. His socials are all down there as well, even though he doesn't check them often. Feel free to yell at him and tell him he's funny looking. We do. That being said, I have got 2 different links for myself down in the description. Again, whether you are watching or listening, the first one is Linktree / I'm No Joe. The other one is Linktree / The Meter Does Many Things. If you are just here for the punchy kicky, I am totally cool with that. You can click that link and it will take you to everything I'm No Joe, all the videos, the archives, the social media stuff, everything is down there. On the other side of that coin, if you find yourself a fan of Satan's Jazz Cabbage, definitely click that other link, because that is where that all goes down. And even though YouTube has been cracking down on those type of channels lately, there's still plenty of content up there and plenty of more coming. I promise you'll find something over there that tickles your fancy if that's what you're into. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Have a good one.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.